Hello YouTube, we're building our little box. We got our measurements over here. We'll pause on it. These sides have to be 1/2 inch thick. Or wide, I should say. The steel's 1/16 thick. So it has to be 1/2 inch wide, because that's the 16th. So it's going to be 5/8 total. So these measurements don't go by. We did something wrong. Here's the piece I'm making. 1/2 inch, it's 1 3/8 long. That's what these are. So I don't know what this measurement is. So scratch that idea. What did I say these were? This is 2 1/4. Okay. It's 1 3/8 deep, which I changed that. Get in frame. 1 3/8 deep, 2 1/4 wide, which doesn't matter. It's whatever you're building. But just remember, I want this 5/8 tall, so I gotta have the sides 1/2 inch because they're gonna fit inside of this. See, 16. I think I confused you enough. Okay, we squared this side up first on the disc sander. Okay. Then we came back and squared this edge, because that gave me this whole thing to put along, or whatever you call that fence thing, to get this square. And I can go only in one way, see? This is whatever, so I can only go in one direction, so I had to be real careful. So I got this square. Now we'll measure out the piece and show you how we're going to cut this off. We got it? I think we got it. We want to make the length first, then we'll chop off the pieces we want. I think you know what I mean. We want to make it this way first. The length, and then we'll make the width. Whatever works. Whatever works on your metal. Always study your metal and try to get the best you can get out of it. You know, don't just go chopping into something and waste a bunch of metal. I mean, I'm trying to conserve this stuff, so that's too narrow, so we got to work with this edge. But you're going to use all these little pieces left. I have several parts left. You don't throw away anything when you're doing these small projects. Here, we simplify this. The bottom and the top, both pieces are 2 1/4, and they're 1 3/8 inch wide deep, bottom and top. So our side has to be 1 3/8 long, and it's only 1/2 inch tall. Because remember I told you it's going to fit in between there to make 5/8. There. That might help. I don't want to confuse anybody. So now let's get to work. Okay, here's our length. We're just over 1 3/8. By the time I smooth it down. And we use this for to make them little door hinges. Even if it's not exact width. Rough cut, we save all these pieces like about 1/4 inch wide. So that's a plus, that come off there. So that's why I decided to cut it that way. Now we're going to cut 1/2 inch wide, 1/2 inch wide. That'll be our two sides. And they don't have to be exact, we'll make them exact. They can be off a little bit too. We will have them filed and ground or whatever, so the box is perfectly whatever. Okay, we got our little box made. It's not perfectly square, but it's not welded. Now we have to figure out how to weld this, because we want to weld just the sides to the bottom, then make our flapper door and add our top last. So we want to be able to remove the top and work on our flapper door, because there's going to be a rod in here like my bake stove. And I learned on my bake stoves, I'd just cut a groove out and I'd put a washer wherever the rod fit better. Because you think, well, I'll drill the rod right here and make the flat. I just cut out a big, made like a 3/8 hole in for a 1/4 inch rod. And I actually used a washer inside or outside and tacked it when I had the thing made. So I made the flapper, made the rod, and then when I got adjusted right, I tacked it into place. So there's a tip for you. If you remember my bake stove, and I'd make that flapper in there. That's it. If you make the flapper so it closes right at the front, you're going to get ashes coming out all the time. If you make the flapper go all the way back here, so it opens up, when it's closed, you're not going to get any ashes up in this box at all. That's my secret way. I think I know what you mean. You're less likely to get any ashes out the front intake if it shuts clear back here. Because your door is going to be like this at an angle. I think you know what I mean. I could probably show you with this, but say this is flat all the way across. Your door is going to shut like this. Nothing's going to get up in there. I think we explained it good enough. Okay, there you go for this episode. I thought I'd just show that. Making air intake box for the stove. If I can slide it in the stove real carefully, I'll give you a picture of that. So tune in next time.